Tez Walker had 6 catches, 132 yards, and 3 touchdowns in a crucial win over Miami. Right? And Miami was a top 25 team. They came in with talent, with ability, with, I would say, a fire because they had been embarrassed the week before by their own decision-making. And North Carolina simply came in with Tez Walker and a running game. Tez Walker and Drake Maye. Tez Walker had 6 catches for 132 yards and 3 touchdowns. Here's Mack Brown, the head coach, on Tez Walker's performance.
Tez Walker, and as well as he played, really, really proud of him. And we were 4-0 without him. Obviously, we have a chance to be much better with him. And now that people have seen him, it's going to change the way people play defense against us. His presence is a game changer. Because do you double team him? Do you move people out and give him more opportunities to run the ball?
This is exactly what we talked about when he was coming back. Drake Maye had been completing darn near all of his passes. He was well over 70% on the year pre-Tez Walker. But he was struggling to get his receivers in the end zone. With Tez this past week, which I called the first, and I said this before the game, the first real game with Tez, the first one, a lot of feeling it out, a lot of ramping up. This felt like the real first game where Tez was there and part of everything. Drake Maye completed just 51% of his passes. That's not very good. But he threw 4 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. That is very good. You take that trade. What Tez Walker brings is the ability to get in the end zone. Right? It's the closer. It's the finisher. It's the guy with the one more move. The difference between being tackled at the 5 and getting into the end zone. The difference between bouncing off your fingertips in the end zone and making the catch. And because of that, you put the defense in the dilemma that Mack Brown was describing. Where do you dispense your defensive resources? Are you double-teaming Tez? Because then you have Nate McCollum and you have the rest of this receiving core and Drake Maye working against a man-down defense everywhere else. Do you double-team him? Because then you have Omarion Hampton running the football, and that guy ran for 24 carries for 197 yards and a touchdown.
And British Brooks is no slouch either when he's healthy.
I was going to say, if you get that full complement back in the backfield, watch the heck out. UNC, with Tez Walker, is a college football playoff contender. And I don't need to qualify it anymore. It's no longer, well, if Tez comes back and he plays up to the potential and he does what they hoped he would do. No, with Tez Walker, they are a college football playoff contender. You look at the rest of their schedule, it's very easy to get to 11-1. Pretty, for your brain, not easy for them to get there. I'm saying it's easy for your brain to go win, and end up 11-1 or 12-0. Then you'll likely have Florida State, someone along those lines, a very quality opponent in the ACC championship game. You win that, you're in the college football playoff. I saw Greg McElroy, who's a national pundit, and they were debating the question, should UNC be in the college football playoff conversation? And you know what they did after that? They had about a 10-minute conversation on UNC being in the college football playoff. And I went, there's your answer. Should they be in the conversation? You're having the conversation right now. You're arguing pros and cons. I'm not saying, are they going to get in? And you have to say yes. I'm saying they're already in the conversation. They are undefeated. They were referenced in a Saturday Night Live sketch as being undefeated. They're in the conversation. The one that fake Deion Sanders, played by Kenan Thompson, had on SNL. They're in the conversation. And like I said this on Friday, right? In college, you don't have midseason acquisitions, right? You very rarely, you never trade for somebody right before the deadline, right? You don't have Von Miller going to the Rams and that propels them to the Super Bowl, right? Because he was a midseason trade from the Broncos that year the Rams won it. You don't have that. UNC kind of does. It feels like UNC played their first 5 games or whatever it was, 5 weeks, and then looked around and said, you know what? I really think we have to trade for a wide receiver at the deadline. I like what we have going. We have the potential to achieve all of our loftiest dreams and goals. The only problem is I think we're missing a big play threat at wide receiver. Hey, let's tell our GM to go trade future picks and bring them in. Only they said, oh, actually, we don't have to do any of that. And by the way, you can't do that in college football. So how about we just bring back this guy who was our key offseason acquisition, and he scored 11 touchdowns through the air, 12 overall last year. Deal. Sign me up. He shows up, the offense explodes. UNC is a college football playoff contender. Now, do you know what they have to do? They have to avoid the letdown, right? They have to avoid, you've established yourself as a contender. Now you can't afford the one game, we overlooked this opponent, or we underestimated, or we came in unprepared. You can't have that happen.
Can't have that trap.
If you take care of business, you're in the ACC championship game with 1 loss or 0 losses. If you take care of business, and that'll be a play into the college football playoff. And then if you're there, guess what? You're there with a puncher's chance. You have Drake Maye and a passing game that can shoot out with anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And a running game that's going to kind of, deceptively fast. It's a scrappy bunch. Omarion Hampton and like you said, British Brooks, if he comes back and is what he's been, gets to full health, I think the sky's the limit for this team.
And what you talk about, if they do get to the CFP, they may not be the better team, depending on who they're matched up against. But like you said,
puncher's chance.
All you need is just one really good game.
Yep.
Sometimes you play above your level for a night. Before you know it, you're in the national championship. That's all you need. It's seriously. But obviously that can happen to you as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like you could be playing a quote-unquote lesser opponent, but they may play above their level. You don't play up to your standard, and you can get beat.
I mean, I firmly...
Hi, Georgia Tech.